Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan make a stop in Duluth as part of an education tour. Plus, new details involving what led up to a drive-by shooting in the heart of Superior. And the biggest beer festival of the Northland coming back to Bayfront Park. We'll talk to some brewers after the game.
Right now, the Duluth School Board sells the shuttered Central High School.
Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan came to Duluth today to talk about Minnesota's COVID-19 recovery budget for education.
A man is charged in a Superior drive-by shooting.
We had a chance of storms tomorrow, a little bit to our south here in the Northland.
And we look at an upcoming Brew Fest heading to Bayfront Festival Park. But first, tonight's lead story, a controversial rally in Duluth is met with protesters. This is Fox 21 Local News.
I think it's important to show solidarity with people that have to put up with racism and oppression, and to show them that we're a community that is going to welcome everybody, and we're not going to stand for that.
All right, protesters gathering outside an event on Park Point this evening by a conservative group that's trying to prevent critical racist theory from being taught in Minnesota public schools. Good evening to you on this Tuesday. I'm Dan Hanger.
And I'm Alexandra Burnley. We'll get to that story in just a moment. But first, an ammonia leak has forced an evacuation this evening at the deck.
Yeah, the fire department got the call for help around 7 o'clock tonight for the leak centered around the curling club. Crews confirmed the leak and then began evacuating the club, deck, and Pioneer Hall. Hazmat crews were called in to figure out where that leak was coming from. Fire Chief Sean Creuset confirming on scene to Fox 21 the leak came from the refrigeration room that keeps the curling club's ice frozen. There are no reports of any injuries. Amsoil Arena and Marcus Theaters were not affected. We'll have more at tomorrow.
And back to our other top story now. A conservative group held a rally at Lafayette Park Community Centers against CRT in schools, drawing the attention of protesters.
Fox 21's Natalie Noury has more from both sides of the argument.
Tuesday evening on Park Point, the Center of the American Experiment held an event at the Lafayette Park Community Center after being denied at 4 Duluth locations in 1 month because of pressure from some in the community.
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! These racist folks have got to go!
This is the 17th stop in Minnesota for the Raise Our Standards tour, focusing on the state's draft social studies standards and critical race theory, especially in school systems. A former Minnesota congressional candidate and founder of Take Charge supports the conservative group's mission.
Even if there were 105 no's, we would be here. It's important that this idea that being able to communicate and share the First Amendment rights, that is not stopped just because you have an organization that want to prevent the citizens from hearing a message that is basic to us as all as Americans.
While this was going on inside, more than 50 protesters gathered outside to share their message as well.
In my view, if you think of anything that's good and progressive, they're against it. So I'm here to protest them, because I don't think it's good to let white supremacists come to our community and try and poison people's minds. It's not okay to stand in the way of progress and to stop our schools from teaching the true history, because we can't grow and change unless we recognize where we've failed in the past. So we have to talk about racism.
But for everybody inside today, they believe there's nothing at all racist about their views.
Americans help each other. This idea of systemic racism is a false narrative at best, or downright lie at worst. And I am fighting for the idea for all those people that helped me that had nothing to gain in return, because they were Americans that wanted to help someone else out.
While both sides were passionate and emotions were high at times, Duluth police say nobody was arrested and all ended peacefully. In the Newsplex, Natalie Noury, Fox 21 Local News.
All right, a little break here, tracking first forecast now.
Well, I would say it was another hot but sunny day and just a really nice summer day. Ken, is it getting warmer?
Yeah, it was pretty warm today, although we have some cooler days ahead. But in the meantime, as we look at our radar again, we did have a few strong storms pass through northwest Wisconsin. We did get a report of hail up to about 1 inch in size down in Hayward. But again, most of those storms have pushed off to the east. We're going to see some clearer conditions for now as we see temperatures down to about 72 degrees. And then those winds have calmed down as well. They're upwards of 10, 15 miles per hour over the course of the day. And tonight, we're going to see some cooler temperatures, chance to cool the house down after a rather warm day. But this is not fog we're seeing, this is haze. We're going to see a little bit more smoke here in the Northland over the next couple of days, so stay tuned for that as well.
All right, thank you, Ken.
All right, tonight, 24-year-old Raekwon Hawkins right there of Superior is now charged in a drive-by shooting that happened in June in the heart of downtown Superior next to the public library. According to the criminal complaint, Hawkins whipped a vehicle around at the intersection of Ogden Avenue and Belknap Street around 10:40 at night, June the 17th, before pulling out a handgun and firing one shot at another man who was confronting him by throwing an e-cigarette at that vehicle. The victim was not struck by the gunfire. Investigators say the mother of the victim's child from a former relationship was in the back seat of the vehicle at the time. The shooting followed after exchanges behind a bar on Tower Avenue. Hawkins faces up to 12 years in prison for each of his 2 felony charges connected to this drive-by.
A Babbitt man is charged with 3 felonies after he was accused of shooting at a stabbing suspect last Saturday. 38-year-old Joel Earl Vandervest appeared in court this morning for second-degree assault, intentional discharge of a firearm that endangers safety, and reckless discharge of a firearm. According to the criminal complaint, he shot at a suspect who sped away from a T-shirt store in Babbitt. That suspect, who has been caught but not charged yet, is accused of stabbing a woman several times who was working in the store before taking off. Investigators found 7 shell casings at the scene that matched with Vandervest's type of gun, and a neighbor said he found a bullet that went through his house. No one was hurt from the gunfire. Tonight, we're learning more about a fatal fire that took the lives of 3 people in Ashland on June 5th. Preliminary autopsy results now confirm the 3 victims died of smoke inhalation. The victims have been identified as 36-year-old Jordan Chowning, 14-year-old Alyssa Chowning, and 17-year-old Michelle Hathaway. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. However, fire officials report initial findings point to the fire starting accidentally by a young child who was in the home while others were sleeping. We'll bring you more information as it becomes available.
And tonight, the man who was killed in a work-related accident in the Douglas County Government Center has been identified. He's 47-year-old Robert Brown, a maintenance worker for the county. Officials say he died after an electrical accident while he was working in the metal grid on the ceiling of the Douglas County Jail's gym. An electrician was called to safely secure the scene so medical and fire personnel could access Brown. The accident is still being investigated by Wisconsin's Department of Safety and Professional Services. In a statement here, the county board chair says he appreciates the efforts of all county staff and emergency personnel that responded to the scene. A heads up tonight for people visiting Voyagers National Park as the hot, dry weather continues. Park officials implementing temporary restrictions on all campfires, including charcoal grills and barbecues. Ban is effective immediately. This restriction is implemented park-wide and includes day use, houseboat tent, and backcountry sites, even if a designated metal fire ring is on site. Camp stoves may continue to be used at this time. A camp stove is defined, if you didn't know, as a stove or grill that is solely fueled by liquid gas fuels. At this time, the ban is in effect until further notice.
And the Bayshore Residence and Rehabilitation Center hosted a Talk About a Job fair today on Park Point to recruit new employees. Healthcare professionals have predicted a burnout period for current workers in the industry who have been working hard through the pandemic, and Bayshore is trying to get ahead of it by finding new healthcare employees. The executive director says they typically have an annual job fair, but they've been hosting them almost monthly to try to recruit some more staff.
So it's nerve-wracking. We're looking for that new generation of hard workers and committed people that are committed to caring for the residents that we have.
Bayshore still has employment opportunities available. You can head to our website to find out more.
All right, more news next tonight. Here's a look at the rundown ahead.
Governor Walz makes a visit to some Duluth kids as part of his education tour.
The Duluth School Board reaches a purchase agreement for Central High School property.
All Pines North is making a comeback to Bayfront Park later this month. We've got a preview.
And then in tonight's Great Outdoors, we are going honeyberry picking in Renshaw. We're back just 60 seconds.
Tonight's news is brought to you by Menards.
Hi everyone, I'm Brett Scott.
And I'm meteorologist Ken Slama.
Wednesday morning on your only local news at 7, Poke for a Pint. Ursa Minor Brewing in Duluth's Lincoln Park Craft District is rewarding folks who get their COVID-19 shot right at the brewery on Wednesday. Plus, voting rights in America. The tense debate continues in a number of states. We have the latest from Washington.
And we have a couple of cooler days in store for us, but that comes with the risk of severe weather on Wednesday. But after that, temperature is going to be on the rise with lots of sunshine here in the Northland. Join us at 7.
You're watching Fox 21 Local News, where local news comes first.
Governor Tim Walz and Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan visiting Denfeld summer school students today, speaking about new educational funding. Fox 21's Lauren Akabori has more on the governor and lieutenant governor's visit right here to Duluth.
Governor Walz and Lieutenant Governor Flanagan, among other community leaders, are celebrating new educational investments in Minnesota's COVID recovery budget. The historic investments are designed to help schools and students across the state get back on track post-pandemic. Minnesota's COVID-19 budget includes $1.2 billion to be put towards education over the next 4 years.
Schools are the epitome of what community looks like, and COVID challenged us as community, and while there were times that it brought out a little bit of the worst in us, predominantly it brought out the best in us, especially when it came time to protecting our children, to making sure that education was a priority.
The money will be allocated by school size and district. $2.5 million will be used in support of mental health services at college and university campuses, and $35 million will go to help bring more teachers of color into classrooms.
But laying a solid foundation for the rest of their lives, frankly. This is why the governor and I fought tooth and nail to ensure that we had funding for public education, but also to make sure that we're focusing on out-of-school time and summer programming.
Governor Walz is also directing $75 million from the state's American Rescue Plan Fund to Minnesota summer learning programs, allowing places like Duluth Public Schools to extend summer program resources. In the studio, I'm Lauren Akabori, Fox 21 Local News.
And with more funding coming in, Duluth Public Schools are able to expand resources for summer learning programs. A portion of Minnesota's American Rescue Plan Fund helped create more programs, provide more transportation, and nearly double school attendance this summer. These additional programs offer more credit recovery classes for students.
But really what it's allowing us to do is provide for all the needs of the students. We have to think about the whole needs of the child, thinking about their social emotional learning, their academic needs, thinking about what they need for after school opportunity.
With this additional funding, Duluth Public Schools continue to close the education gap. The plan is to continue these programs next summer. And new tonight, the Duluth School Board approved the sale of Central High School to a property developer. The developer, Saturday Central Heights, bought more than 52 acres for $7.4 million. The school board approved the deal unanimously after 11 years of the property sitting on the market after the school closed. The city of Duluth will get involved with finalizing the sale and property redevelopment. School district will keep the backside of the property. Saturday Properties bought the historic old Central High School building last fall for $3 million.
And now here are some of the stories making headlines across the region. A 22-year-old man filling up his car at a Wisconsin gas station is shot and killed. Happened early Tuesday about 22 miles south of Milwaukee. Police say a 32-year-old man approached the man filling up his tank and opened fire. The gunman then shot at another person driving through the parking lot. Fortunately, that person was not hurt. The suspect then drove 2 miles away to another gas station and attempted to shoot somebody again there. The man he approached was an undercover cop who pulled out his weapon and fired back, killing that suspect. No word on a motive for all of this. Police are still investigating. And a tanker truck driver was able to walk away from a fiery crash on a highway in Troy, Michigan with only minor injuries after his semi-truck crashed into the center divider Monday and exploded into a massive ball of flames. 14,000 gallons of gasoline and diesel fuel were on board. The driver of the truck was able to get out with the help of an ambulance crew there. He was taken to a Detroit medical center for minor injuries. Thankfully, nobody else was hurt in this crash. A cause is under investigation. And that's your Fox Regional Roundup.
Well, back here, we're just enjoying this beautiful summer weather, and it's crazy because I feel like the summer is going by so fast.
Oh, yeah. You have to enjoy it. You have to enjoy every day of it around here. Ken Slama's got an update for you, and it's a hot weekend
dark
ahead.
out there. Bridge isn't lit up.
Yeah.
Tonight's live shot is powered by Campbell Lumber and Supply for building materials, kitchens, baths, windows, and decks.
Welcome back, everybody, on this Tuesday evening. Taking a look at our temperatures for today, we got up to 87 degrees in Duluth. The warm spot in the Northland, tied with Siren down there, also 87. Superior, 85 degrees. We're going to see some cooler weather finally make its way here into the Northland. Give us a little bit of a reprieve from some of these hot days that we have had. But as far as precipitation goes, we do see a few scatters of showers that did pass through the Northland today, though nothing here in the Twin Ports. Saw a little bit of precipitation up towards Grand Marais, down northwest Wisconsin, a little over a 1/10 of an inch, but again, they did get that 1-inch hail down in Hayward yesterday, so hopefully we get a little bit more precipitation tomorrow headed our way. But in the meantime, things have cleared out for us here in the Northland. Lots of clear skies tonight, and that's going to allow things to cool down once again for us. Again, temperatures dipping down into the 50s tonight here in the Northland. But looking at our radar as we zoom out, we do have that front that passed through, driving some of those storms earlier today, and then another front behind that is going to cause a little bit of those winds to continue from the northwest, and that's going to drive a little bit of that smoke up in Ontario and Manitoba down our way. So that's what's driving some of the additional smoke here in the Northland. But out west, we are seeing that low pressure really starting to build, coming out of the northern Rockies, making its way across Wyoming and now the Dakotas, and that's what's going to be arriving tomorrow. But this front here is going to be pushing that low pressure system a little bit further to the south. So down in southern Minnesota is where most of the activity is going to be. But here in the Northland, we could see a little bit of that northern edge of that storm. So be on the lookout for potential storms down through northwest Wisconsin tomorrow. But looking at our warnings, again, that smoke, we do have an air quality warning in place until Friday morning, so then tomorrow, and then again on Thursday, we're going to be having lingering smoke and haze here in the Northland. So if you are sensitive to the additional particulates in the atmosphere, be aware of that. But we're going to pick up the Futurecast on Wednesday morning. We're going to see some more clouds influx here into the Northland after a clear night tonight, but there's that storm making its way through southern Minnesota. And as we get into the early afternoon hours, we're going to see that storm start to arrive here in the Northland. And if you're on I-94 down through Wisconsin, probably want to avoid that section of road right at 2 o'clock. It seems to like that particular road right there. But as we get into the evening hours, we are going to see some of those storms make their way through to south or northwest Wisconsin, the southern edge of the Northland. Now here in the Twin Ports, maybe a few showers, not a whole lot. Again, that storm has shifted to the south over the last 24, or the trajectory of that storm has shifted to the south over the last few model runs. But then by the time we get into the evening, most of that will push off to the east. And then as we get into Thursday morning, maybe a few clouds, maybe a few sprinkles coming out of these clouds, but otherwise things will clear out rather quickly for us behind that. And then the chance for severe weather again is enhanced down through southern Minnesota and Wisconsin, and just a slight risk up here into the Twin Ports. But taking a look at our upper level pattern, we do have that low pressure system pushing off to the east over the weekend. But once we get into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're going to see high pressure really start to build up here into the Northland. It's going to get pretty strong. That's going to allow things to get pretty warm for us here in the Northland. So as we take a look at our 7-day forecast, after those temperatures are cool for the next couple of days, the high pressure building, and we're going to see highs getting into the upper 80s, even 90 degrees by the time early next week rolls around. So be prepared for more hot weather here in the Northland.
Look at that, and then 90 on Monday.
Nice.
And lots of sunshine, so
yes.
Enjoy that little bit of rain while we get it.
And we
Possibly.
need that rain too.
We
We're
do,
still
so-
in that drought, so we need that rain.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ken. All right, well, great beer, beautiful sights, and lively music will return to Bayfront Festival Park on July 31st for the annual All Pints North Brewfest.
Yeah, lively people, too. After their cancellation in 2020 due to, you guessed it, the pandemic, more than 100 Minnesota breweries and cideries are thrilled to be taking part in this year's event. The event takes place, rain or shine, Organizers expecting this year to sell out as more people start to venture out in search of activities to attend in person once again. For those who don't drink, just so you know, there are non-alcoholic options available. If you're the sober one for the bunch, our designated driver tickets available for just $15. Hoops Brewing is taking part in the event once again this year. They are bringing back their Chili Pepper Ale, which was a big hit back in 2019.
It's pretty much the must-attend festival for all the brewers, and it's a guild event, which means you have to be a Minnesota Guild member in order to serve beer here, and it tends to be just a really, really good time, packed, fun, loud, good food, good beer.
Good view. Tickets are $60 and they're selling fast. We've set up a link to purchase the tickets on our website, fox21online.com.
And it's so nice to see Bayfront Festival Park come alive again with these events, the music. Even if you're not down in Bayfront, if you're in Canal Park, you can hear the music, and it's so fun.
Love it. Up next tonight on the news, Fox Focus on Health.
COVID cases are ticking back up again as variants spread.
Well, after months of declining coronavirus cases, the U.S. has now seen infections double in just the last few weeks.
It's not good. The trend has some doctors concerned that things could just get worse before they get better. Here's more from Fox.
Ever since vaccines became widely available, many Americans have been treating the coronavirus like it's in the rearview mirror. But newly released data from Johns Hopkins University indicates that the pandemic is far from over. 48 out of 50 states seeing an increase in cases over the last 2 weeks. Doctors attributing the recent surge to the much more infectious Delta variant.
I think we can expect to see hospitalizations rise. We'll probably see deaths go up, although not to the same extent because we have more people who are vaccinated.
While 4th of July gatherings may have helped the virus spread, experts believe the biggest factor has been the vaccine. The states with the largest jumps in cases have vaccination rates below the national average. The CDC says more than 99% of coronavirus deaths are now among people who are unvaccinated. Despite the increase, deaths and hospitalizations are still far below what they were at the peak of the pandemic. But as a precaution, some places like Los Angeles are now back to recommending people wear masks in public.
It is reasonable for us to start to talk about re-implementing some measures to start to curb the spread.
And around 55% of Americans have gotten at least one shot of a COVID-19 vaccine, with young people under the age of 27 lagging behind other age groups. In New York, Aishah Hasnie, Fox News.
All right, 30 more minutes of news coming your way next. Here's the rundown for the rest of the night.
All right, Cuban Americans speak out in South Florida over conditions on the island nation.
In your spin around the world, dozens of people are dead after a hospital fire in Iraq.
The Maritime Visitor Center is all about Lake Superior this weekend.
And in tonight's Great Outdoors, we're headed to Renshaw to pick some honey berries. Come back.
Access Daily does everything a little differently.
That's all you need.
This is where Hollywood hangs out and hometowns take center stage.
You're going with me to the Frozen 2 premiere.
Access Daily.
Weekdays on Fox 21.
All week long on the King of Queens.
Weeknights on Fox 21. You're watching Fox 21 Local News, where local news comes first.
Hundreds of Cuban Americans gathered in South Florida over the past several days to protest conditions on the island nation.
Here's the latest from Fox.
Miami's Little Havana filled up with hundreds of Cuban Americans showing support for their Cuban brothers and sisters on the island and once again calling for change in the communist country. For more than an hour this afternoon, they even shut down traffic on a Miami highway by blocking the lanes. And Miami's mayor suggesting the U.S. might explore military intervention.
Are you suggesting airstrikes in Cuba?
What I'm suggesting is that that option is one that has to be explored and cannot be just simply discarded as an option that is not on the table.
Around Havana yesterday, a noticeably beefed up military presence and government loyalists on mostly protest-free streets. The internet and social media platforms were shut down and remain so today. contrast with the unprecedented public protests on the island Sunday, defiance to the communist government in about a dozen cities. The Miami Herald reporting that Raul Castro came out of retirement to attend an emergency meeting of the Communist Party's Politburo to deal with Sunday's island-wide protests. New Jersey Senator Robert Menendez spoke briefly with President Biden on what can be done.
We have to help create greater technological access for internet access inside of Cuba. The regime constantly shuts down the internet when there are protests so that Cubans can't speak to each other.
Florida's governor and a local congressman held a roundtable this afternoon with Cuban Americans in Miami.
They've taken everything away from us, including our fear. And you know what? When the Cuban people no longer fear the Cuban government, it's the beginning of the end.
And last night and today, Cuban Americans loading a small flotilla of boats with cases of water and cans of food, aiming to deliver them to the Cuban people who are suffering from chronic food shortages. It's highly unlikely the Cuban government will allow them in. And Cuban forces have reportedly arrested 50 to 100 dissidents over the past 2 days, all accused of helping to organize the big demonstrations on Sunday, which in communist Cuba are forbidden. In Miami's Little Havana, Phil Keating, Fox News.
Now here are stories making news around the world.
Haitian police are looking for 10 new local suspects in relation to the assassination of the Haitian president. 3 of them are suspected of murder, attempted murder, and armed robbery and are described as armed and dangerous. 39 suspects have been named so far, including at least 26 Colombians and 3 U.S. citizens. In South Africa, unrest is spreading days after the former president began serving a 15-month prison sentence. The South African Army has deployed troops to help control the violence that included lots of looting. Police say at least 6 people have been killed and more than 200 arrested in relation to the protests. At least 92 people have lost their lives in a fire at a hospital in southern Iraq on Monday night. The incident happened after oxygen tanks being used to treat coronavirus patients exploded. At least 50 people were also critically injured in the incident. The Iraqi president blames the incident on, quote, corruption and mismanagement. And that's your spin around the world.
All right, coming up next here tonight.
All right, the Maritime Museum has fun events planned to celebrate Lake Superior.
Welcome back, everybody. Taking a look at our almanac for today. 87 degrees was our high again, a little bit above normal by about 10 degrees. But it was on this day, 85 years ago, back in 1936, that Duluth has the all-time record high of 106 degrees. Maybe you, along with Dan Hanger, will remember that day 85 years ago. But taking a look at our winds, things have calmed down, but a little bit of a northwesterly wind over the course of the day has brought in some more of that ash and smoke from those fires up in Canada. And so due to that, we do have an air quality warning now in place until Friday morning, and it's going to be on Friday. The high pressure starts to kick in. It's going to change the wind direction and push more of that smoke away from the Northland. But in the meantime, we do have that, again, air quality warning for today and tomorrow. Now, as far as temperatures go, tomorrow here in the Twin Ports, it's going to be a little bit cooler. Temperatures in the mid-70s for a high. Now, we do have 2 baseball games on tap for tomorrow. The Huskies playing a doubleheader against the Eau Claire Express. And around 12 o'clock, right around the start of the first game, temperatures low to mid-70s. We're going to have increasing clouds, maybe a little bit of early sunshine, but by the time we get closer to the start of the second game in the evening time, a few showers are possible. Temperatures dipping down into the 60s, so some cooling temperatures over the course of the day with lots of clouds and potential rainfall. As we do look at the severe outlook for tomorrow, there is an enhanced risk down through southern Minnesota and Wisconsin. But as you get further north towards the Twin Ports, just a marginal to slight risk through northwest Wisconsin. So keep an eye on that if you are planning on heading out to the game. But otherwise, taking a look at our 7-day forecast, we are going to enjoy some cooler temperatures tomorrow and then again on Thursday. But on Friday, we're going to be back into the 80s, and then we're going to continue to stay there with lots of sunshine all the way through into the beginning of next week. So enjoy any rainfall that we do get tomorrow, because it probably won't be too much. Maybe a few tenths of an inch is all. And I do want to show one picture. If you hopefully you like some bugs here. I took this picture with my kids. We were out in the park, and they just love grasshoppers. And I think my daughter's a grasshopper whisperer, because that grasshopper just stayed on her hand for like 5 minutes just without moving evening. It was pretty incredible.
Oh, that's awesome. You know, when I was a little kid, I used to catch frogs and toads, but now I don't think I'd do that as an adult, and I definitely wouldn't hold a bug.
Yeah, don't the frogs give you herpes or something? Or they give you
warts?
warts?
I think it's an old wives' tale, though.
Oh.
You're going to get warts if you play with that thing.
What kind of frogs are you holding,
Well,
Dan?
my frogs, they got around, okay, back on the farm. That's why I thought about the herpes.
Okay.
Anyway, my quick question is that you have a camera, a special camera that you got this detail?
That's my phone.
Really?
That is my phone.
Wow.
Like I said, I was probably at 2 inches from the grasshoppers. Like I said, I think it was holding still, and I could get really close to it.
Cool. All right, thanks. The Maritime Visitor Center is celebrating Lake Superior Day all weekend long, starting this Friday.
Yes, the center is teaming up with local experts for a lineup of family-friendly activities. Friday and Saturday's events are followed by a book reading of Sunken Shipwrecks, Lake Superior by Kathy Groth.
Yeah, we're excited about hosting this and about seeing the crowds again since we didn't really get a chance to interact with people very much last year. This summer, we're hoping to change that.
Outdoor gift shops are also set up for visitors getting a head start on this weekend's events.
Now, to talk about our Facebook Friend of the Day, Becky Latour. Thanks for liking us on Facebook. Let me be featured as Friend of the Day. Just go ahead and do just that.
Oh, I don't think that's our photo. That's okay, though.
Well, who is this?
That
Who are
wasn't
those
Becky.
people?
I don't know.
Hans and Franz. Coming up next in tonight's Great Outdoors.
All right, we check out the only commercial honeyberry farm in the country that's right in our backyard coming up. Well, berry picking season is well underway. Fox 21's Reece Lindquist takes us to the only commercial honeyberry orchard right here in the Northland in this week's Great Outdoors.
You're on your fourth plant. First planted in 2016, the first and only commercial honeyberry orchard in the U.S. is just a short drive from the Twin Ports in Renshaw.
They all kind of look like chrysalises.
So if you can envision a blueberry that kind of fell in love with a pack of sweet tarts. Some are sweet, some are sour, and some are tart. And every variety or every row of plants we have out here tastes different.
The farm has expanded to 14 different varieties, with some organizations ordering the berries in bulk.
Moose Lake Brewing came out and they said, we're going to give it a try. We've never done it before. We want to make it into a sour. There's a meadery in the Twin Cities. Their first year they ordered 250 pounds. Last year they ordered 500. And this year they want 1,200 pounds of honeyberries, so it's quite a job to try to get them that kind of fruit.
Of course, honeyberries can also be used for a variety of baked goods and smoothies.
You know, I was thinking about maybe making pie or some type of pastry or something like that, but I think it'd make a good jam too.
Even with the odd weather during the growing season this year, the farm is still able to provide fresh produce for the community.
It's been really hot. It's been exceptionally dry in parts of both May and June. We've been doing everything we can to keep moisture on these plants. It's been extraordinarily challenging.
And that's something every berry picker can appreciate.
It's really special. I've never seen anything like this anywhere we've lived, so this is really cool.
The berries are $6 a pound. For more information on the farm, we have links set up on our website. In Renshaw with photojournalist Adam Jaganich, Reece Lindquist, Fox 21 Local News.
Oh, I love berries. Sweet. I like sour, tart.
I do
sweet
too.
but,
Raspberries are my favorite. I've never tried a honeyberry before though. Those look good.
Mm-hmm. All right. My mouth is all starting to water.
Oh, you even had berry yogurt today.
Yeah.
They're all about
berries.
the berries.
Yeah.
All about berry lifestyle.
That's right. Just not the dingles. All right. Coming up next in sports. It's late night television now. It's 11:30. I can say dingleberries.
You can say whatever you want.
Dingleberries. Never had one. Never will. We preview the 50th annual Park Point 5 Miler, which will take place this Thursday.
You running that?
Not with. I was going to say not with my dingleberries, but I don't have dingleberries. So anyway, I'm not running.
And we've got Legion baseball action at Wade Stadium. Sam Ali next.
As the world continues to have questions, one show stays dedicated to giving you the answers.
We are back in the studio.
This season, the Dr. Oz Show remains your coronavirus headquarters, covering the topics that concern you the most, bringing you the latest medical breakthroughs and experts from the front lines.
We won't stop until the virus does.
Watch Dr. Oz tackle the tough coronavirus topics. Weekdays at 1 p.m. on Fox 21.
Welcome back. With the major leagues taking a break this week, that means you have to search elsewhere to get your baseball fix, and why not some Legion action right here in the Northland. The West Duluth Cubs wrapping up a 3-game homestand, taking on Grand Rapids. First inning, Keating Christensen at the plate, but Rem Maroke, Cody Miller, and Andrew Sundberg team up on the double play to end the inning for the Cubs. Thunderhawks defense on display tonight, turning 3 double plays to the third. Still scoreless, Dane Zuck hits one deep to left field, and no doubt about it, solo home run gets West Duluth on the board. But the Cubs ran into some trouble in the fourth. Ben Keski scores on the wild pitch, and we are all tied up at 1. Bottom of the 6th, same score. Christensen sends this one just fair down the third base side. Andy Larson comes home, then a throwing error allows Gavin Bolthouse to score. Grand Rapids would load the bases in the 7th, but Joe Udd closes the door for the save to give West Duluth the 3-1 win. Let's stay on the diamond, as this past weekend a pair of Cloquet youth teams finished among the best in the state. The U11 travel baseball team took 3rd place at the Gopher State Tournament of Champions. Hermantown and Duluth also participated, as both placed 2nd in pool play. And congrats to the U10 fast pitch softball team, who took 1st place at the USSSA State Tournament, as they finished with an overall record of 4-1. Switching gears, as this Thursday, the Park Point 5-miler will celebrate its 50th anniversary as the oldest race in northern Minnesota. This year's installment will also mark the return to a more normal version of the race, with a traditional mass start. Organizers say they've used the past year to improve race operations for the runners.
You look at some of the pictures from the 2020 Park Point, and it's 1 or 2 people running all by themselves, and that's not what running events like ours is supposed to feel like. You're supposed to feel a sense of community and a sense of support. We got that on Grandma's Marathon weekend, and we're excited that that can now extend even more so to some of our smaller events.
More than 400 runners are already registered to run in person. The Park Point 5-miler will begin at 6:30 with the 2-mile walk starting 10 minutes later. School, it's one of the many things we hate to do, like taxes or talk with the in-laws. Today, the Enger Park Golf Course hosted their 5th annual Junior Golf School. The students, ages 5 to 15, learn everything from swinging mechanics and bunker play to proper etiquette on the course. Most of the attendees are beginners in the sport, and everyone has their own favorite part of the program.
Probably the putting range, because it's really hard but really fun.
1, I meet a lot of new people and have fun, and 2, I just really like golf.
Simple as that right there. The camp originated out in Washington State with Enger General Manager Mike Bender, so when he moved to Duluth, he brought the school as well, with his son as an instructor.
It's nice now to be able to teach the camp after going through it for 6-7 years on my own. It's kind of like second nature to me, so every summer I come here and I teach the kids. And it's kind of cool to see the switch of getting to hang out with the instructors and thinking the instructors are super cool when you're younger, and now trying to be that cool instructor that everybody wants to learn from and hang out with.
For more information on future golf schools at Enger, head to their website. Let's go to the ice, and a stunner down in St. Paul earlier today, as the Minnesota Wild have bought out the contracts of veterans Zach Parise and Ryan Suter. Both had 4 years remaining on their respective deals, but General Manager Bill Guerin says it was a move the team had to make if they wanted to become a Stanley Cup contender.
These guys had a really huge impact on hockey in Minnesota, so we don't take it lightly. We can't just do a knee-jerk reaction and do something like this. It's important, and you have to spend time on it. And in the end, I do feel that this is the right decision for us, and it will work out for them.
The Wild signed the pair a little over 9 years ago. Parise recorded 400 points in 558 games with the Wild and is the franchise leader in multiple playoff categories, while Suter is the team leader in scoring among defensemen. In 9 seasons during the Parise-Suter era, the Wild reached the postseason 8 times but never advanced past the second round. And that'll do it for sports. We'll be right back.
Emmy Award-winning Daily Mail TV.
Weekdays on Fox 21.
I'm tired.
Hey, Dan. Just lounging around on this Tuesday night here, late night. And take a look at our air quality warning. Again, we're going to see some smoke and haze for the next couple of days. So if you do have any sensitivities to any extra particulates in the air, do be aware they will be present over the next couple of days. And then tomorrow, severe weather outlook. Chances are enhanced down through southern Minnesota. Here in the Northland, slight to marginal risk down in northwest Wisconsin, but keep an eye on the radar tomorrow. And after a couple of cooler days, we're going to see lots of sunshine and temperatures warming up as we get closer to the weekend. So be prepared for more hot weather here in the Northland.
All right, finally on Fox, it looks like a lot of people are fans of the great outdoors, and mountain air taking the top spot for the second year in a row. For best places to live in the country is Boulder, Colorado. Many people have reevaluated where to settle down since the start of the pandemic. According to U.S. News, Boulder County offers more than 60 parks and 155 miles of hiking trails. Plus, they rank second for best places to live for quality of life. List ranks the country's 150 most populous metro areas based on affordability, job prospects, and desirability. Well, I think Duluth should make that list too. I mean, maybe we don't have the most affordable places to live.
Greatest outdoor city, I think, is what we've landed with.
I'm sure we're a close second.
To Boulder?
To Boulder, yes. A very close second.
Well, you're from out there, right?
Oregon?
Well, a little bit further to the west.
Okay.
Not as mountainous as the Rockies, but definitely we had our hills and a few mountains. There's beautiful volcanic mountains, not active, of course, like Mount Hood, Mount McLaughlin, some of those, Mount Rainier on the Pacific Northwest. Not that far west.
Wow.
A little bit further.
Wow. Well, that's neat. Yeah. Hey.
How much more time do
when
we
are
have?
We done? I forgot.
We are thrown off. Jeff, how much? 43. Oh, we're ending at 43.
And we're going to be at 42, so we still have a minute.
We have a minute to go. Well, I was just in Colorado, and, you know, I noticed as beautiful as it is out there, you know, it's a lot of red and brown, and here in the summer, it's just green and blue and bright blue sky and so many trees, and out there, it looks a little more deserty, but still beautiful, just in a different way.
Yeah, the eastern or the western side of the Rockies absorbs a lot of that moisture, so it doesn't make it over into eastern Colorado. And where I was at in Oregon, we were on the western side of the mountains, so we had a lot of greenery near the coast, so definitely some beautiful parts of the country, but I guess Boulder is a little bit more beautiful than the rest of us.
Always learning, you know?
Stan.
Always learning.
More beautiful than the rest of us.
Oh, please. Thanks for making us your choice for news.
Sam's in here, eh?
Sam, we're still on the news.
Sam.
Thanks for making us your choice for news tonight, and thanks for staying up.
Yes, then we will see you tomorrow. You'll see Ken in just a few hours.
I'll see you at 7 o'clock.
There you go. Have a good night.
Poor Ken.
Poor Ken.
We now join the following program in progress.